It began in the quiet of a fall morning, the kind where the air is crisp enough to bite, but the sky is soft with sunlight. Max, Grace's German shepherd, was running through the backyard, chasing leaves like they were enemies of the state. He was a picture of power and elegance, every stride a declaration of vitality. Grace watched from the porch, coffee in hand, heart full. Max had been her rock through some of the darkest chapters of her life. A divorce, the loss of her father, the crushing isolation of those months when everything else felt uncertain. But Max, he was always there, fiercely loyal, unshakably loving, a protector and a best friend rolled into one magnificent creature. But on that morning, something changed. Max stopped mid-run, shook his head vigorously, and sat down, pawing at his ear. It was so quick, Grace barely noticed. Dogs shake their heads all the time, right? By the end of the day, it had become more frequent. Not just a shake, more like a thrashing. And the pawing turned into scratching. Repeated, forceful, desperate. Grace knelt beside him that evening, gently pulling back his ear. What she saw made her stomach twist. The inside was red, inflamed, and damp. A thin trail of brownish discharge pooled at the base, and there was a pungent odor, strong, sour, unmistakable. Max whimpered, not loudly, but enough for Grace to hear pain where there had always been silence. She rushed him to the vet the next morning. The diagnosis came fast, a full-blown ear infection, likely caused by yeast and bacteria working together in that warm, moist environment. The vet explained how common this was, especially in German shepherds. Their large, open ears can collect dirt, water, and allergens more easily than most breeds. Add in their high activity levels and a tendency for allergies, and it's the perfect storm for recurring infections. Max was prescribed antibiotics and antifungal ear drops. It was a start, but something inside Grace refused to stop there. This wasn't just about treating an infection. It was about understanding it, preventing it, making sure Max never had to suffer in silence again. That night, long after Max had fallen asleep beside her on the rug, Grace started researching, not in a casual, curious way, but in the determined, obsessive way of someone who refuses to be caught off guard again. She read medical journals, pet forums, holistic remedy blogs. She even joined German shepherd care groups online, where she met hundreds of owners with stories just like hers. Patterns began to emerge. Moisture, diet, allergies, ear shape, grooming habits, even seasonal changes. She learned that many commercial dog foods, even the premium ones, contain grains and fillers that contribute to inflammation and yeast overgrowth. That ears should never be cleaned with alcohol or hydrogen peroxide. It dries out the skin and can make things worse. That overbathing can strip a dog's skin of its natural protective oils, creating more vulnerability. She switched Max's food immediately to a grain-free, limited-ingredient diet rich in omega-3s. She started cleaning his ears weekly using a gentle, vet-recommended solution with antifungal properties. She bought an odic drying powder for post-bath and post-swim use. And she incorporated coconut oil, natural, antimicrobial, and soothing into his ear care routine. At first, Max hated the cleanings. He'd squirm, resist, even growl a little. But Grace stayed calm, gentle, consistent. Over time, it became routine. A ritual, even, a quiet moment between them where she'd whisper reassurances, clean with a steady hand, and watch him relax under her touch. The infection stopped. Weeks turned into months. Max's ears remained clean, healthy, upright as ever. The sparkle in his eyes returned. So did the mischief, the playful growls, the wrestling matches with fallen branches, the joyous zoom eyes across the yard. But Grace didn't stop there. She decided to share Max's journey, not for fame, but for the countless other dogs suffering while their humans remained unaware. She posted a video, Max sitting calmly as she cleaned his ear, her voice guiding the audience step by step. She spoke not like an expert, but like a friend, a dog mom who had made mistakes, learned from them, and now just wanted to help. The video exploded. Within days, it had millions of views. Comments poured in from around the world. Stories from others who had lost dogs to chronic infections. Questions about the best ear cleaners. Pleas for help. gratitude from those who finally realized the signs they had missed. Grace became a voice, not a celebrity, but a beacon. She began posting regular content. Tips, vet interviews, tutorials, before and after stories. She created a downloadable checklist for dog owners to use weekly. Smell check, redness check, discharge check, behavior change log. She turned her pain into purpose. And all the while, Max stayed beside her. Ears tall, eyes bright, the star of every video and the reason behind every post. People began tagging her in videos of their own dogs healing. Cleaning routines modeled after hers. Shelters reached out, using her methods to care for neglected animals. Vets praised her for raising awareness. Pet brands offered sponsorships, though she only accepted the ones that genuinely helped dogs. Max's story became more than just a recovery tale. It became a movement, a reminder that the best treatment is not found in a bottle, but in observation, consistency, and love. It's in noticing the small signs, the subtle shifts in behavior, the quiet way your dog starts to sleep more on one side because the other ear hurts. It's in knowing that a head tilt might not be cute. It might be a cry for help. It's in catching the infection before it festers, before it robs them of their joy, their balance, their peace. So now, when someone messages Grace with a question, what's the most effective ear infection treatment for a German Shepherd? She answers with a story. The story of Max, of the first shake, the second vet visit, the healing journey that turned pain into purpose. Because in the end, it's not just about cleaning ears. It's about listening, really listening, to the dog who can't speak, and loving them enough to hear.